He's like, don't touch it. Make them nervous, mess with the mic and talk too long. And that just freaks you out. Okay. Good afternoon. My name's Theresa. I'm an alcoholic. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be sober because of a loving God. You know, it's something when you want it to be over and it hasn't even started yet. The whole time I was like, I want this to finish. I want this to finish. I'm trying to come into the present moment because I just have checked out. I don't want to be here right now. Okay, come back. I want to read this book. I wanted to ask her, can I have the book? Let me sit over here and read. Okay. Alrighty. Whew. I want to thank Steve and the committee for asking me to come out and participate in my recovery. I always say for doing a 12-step call on me. I want to acknowledge the committee. I know you guys will probably do it later, but I like to give them a round of applause. It takes a lot to put something like this on. Yeah, I'm always amazed, a bunch of drunks can hang out all year and plan something. That's crazy. And God pulls it off, despite them. So. And thank Lisa so much for picking me up. Yeah, we kind of know each other. She reminded me a lot of myself. And then we found a way from the East Coast. That's right. Give me an East Coast person. Ooh. Oh, hot diggity dog. I've been like a kid in the candy store, especially, with all the speakers. I know most of them, and it's great to be with them and share a podium. But really, especially after listening to Peter last night, I was sitting out there going, I forgot I was participating in this conference. I was all in it. I was I'm speaking here. Okay, hold on. Oh, goodness gracious, great balls of fire. And see some faces of people that I really love and enjoy from around traveling, and it's been great. I really have enjoyed myself. Lately, in the last few years, I've just been preoccupied through conferences and meetings, right? Scott was looking for my little iPad. I would walk around with a camera looking at my mom with Alzheimer's, and one thing or another is going on in school, and so it's just been really nice. It's the first weekend that I just could be here, and not be running out and answering the phone. So that feels really good. And then I have to speak. Okay. All right. My sobriety date is March 29, 1990. But for the grace of God, I've been with you all for the last 29 years. I came to you at the age of 24. And I will be 54, I think. No, in July. This is my birthday month. So, I don't know. Let's see what happens. I'm in rare form. Oh, geez. This humidity is kicking my butt, All I know is that I leave my room looking really cute, and then like an hour later, I go to the bathroom, and I've melted. I'm like, what's happening to me? I've melted. Looks like I've been in a club all night. My hair is I'm like, what's happening? Okay. I've had to let that go. You can't look cute around here. I gotta let it go. I wanted to ask the ladies, what type of powder do you use? Anyway, what type of hair cream? That's why I put it in a ponytail. I'm like, woo, okay. Boy, talk about vanity. All right, can't do that here. Oh, goodness. I want to welcome our new friends. Welcome home. We've been praying for you. We really have. I always wish you the gift of desperation, and that alcohol is through with you, and that this is the last house on the block. And if it isn't, if you're just visiting, keep coming back. And if you discover that you're not an alcoholic, have one for me. I ain't mad at you, shoot. I do inventory on you guys all the time. You know, there is a moment of silence and prayer, and it takes place in every meeting all over the world, and that's for the newcomer and those still sick and suffering in and out of the rooms. And we ask you to keep coming back and don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle happens, and it's going to be all right. You know, I heard you don't have to take a drink again if you want to, and more importantly, even if you don't want to. The program works if you work it. And I always like to take a moment to acknowledge all the old timers in the house. Thank you for my life and my sobriety. I still want what you have. I don't ever want to lose that. I still watch all of you. I watch you sweep the floors and you put up the chairs. Usually the most quiet person in the room, except for the bleeding deacon. We used to have those. I watch you stay sober no matter what. I think what impresses me about the old timers is that they haven't killed themselves or somebody else. That becomes an option after a while. And I always share this. I don't know if you have it here in Nashville, but in our home group, I'm impressed that most of the old timers have been hanging out with each other for the last 40, 50 years, and some of them still don't like one another. There's something about that impresses me. I don't know. I do. I just really enjoy watching that. I watch when one of them gets up and everybody's still rolling their eyes. Could you imagine, like 40, 50 years, they're still like, oh, he's still here. Oh. And they're like, yep, I'm still here. You know, it's just, I love it. And I think it's really cute that you all kind of recite that last tradition. You know, we do that too in some of our meetings. Principles before personalities. Oh, that's so cute, right? I'm like, do we really know what that means? Took me a minute to get that one. I used to recite it too. It was cute. Until I realized I was really talking about myself. I need to set my personality to the side and let principles come first. I thought it was your personality. You know what I mean? It was a good jab. You know what I mean? I'm going to let your personality go to the side and focus on the principle. I was talking about my personality. Oh, dear. I get an opportunity to share with you in a general way what it used to be like, what happened, and what it's like now. I give you a Reader's Digest. And I invite you to listen to similarities and not the differences, and ask yourself some questions like, that happened to me. I felt that way too. And more importantly, perhaps this program can work for me. I'm so uncomfortable. This thing makes me uncomfortable. I'm vulnerable, intimidated. This is awkward. I always just got to get that out, because if not, it'll just stand in the way of my usefulness. It's all ego and pride. It doesn't matter. It's just still here. God has a sense of humor. Yeah, because people keep asking me to speak, and I'm like, you don't hear me when I first talk? I'm like, I don't like it. Why isn't anybody paying attention to me? I'm like, I don't understand why y'all don't listen. I am more present and awake than ever before. I've been having to really look at some stuff. Some folks who know me, I've been taking care of my mom for a while, and she now lives in my house, and we'll get into that in a minute. Boy, have I been stretching my spiritual muscles. Amy and I were talking about that, right? Yesterday, she was like, I yelled at my dad. I was like, I do it to my mom all the time. I was like, don't worry, she don't remember. She got Alzheimer's, you know what I'm saying? This is like really good. I don't know if that's terrible now, but I don't really have to make amends because she don't remember. I'm just so grateful that I haven't done like Diary of a Mad Black Woman with her. You know what I'm saying? Let's see where we go with this. I listen to Sandy Beach often, and I love how he talks about how the story changes after a while. The more we uncover, discover, and discard it, the story changes. And I've just really been looking at the story. I mean, my story, in a sense, doesn't change with regards to my relationship with alcohol, but the insanity of all of it has begun to change for me. I don't know, it's interesting. I've been listening to my mother a lot and finding a lot of her diaries. I don't know if that's bad or not to read it, but I've been reading it. And we have a lot of the same story. And it's no wonder it happened to me. I'm an alcoholic from birth, so I came into this world loaded. My mother's an alcoholic. She drank and used, and so I was born addicted. I wasn't wanted. My mother left me in the hospital. My dad and grandma brought me home, and they gave me alcohol. So I drank my entire life. I have gotten jealous of people who found alcohol later on in life. You know, when I listen to these stories, I think it's so cool when that moment, you know, when you arrived and you met it and it filled up something. Sometimes I get jealous. I can't pinpoint that relationship with alcohol and I, because that's the only thing I've ever known. And I survived with it. I should have died, perhaps. But it certainly leaves no confusion that I have an allergic reaction to alcohol. Because to give an infant alcohol, and that's the only thing you give them and I don't die, is fascinating. My body never rejected it. It only demanded for more. My brother never understood the relationship between my mother, myself, and alcohol. We talk about powerlessness. Alcoholism won. My dad tried to rescue me. My grandmother tried to rescue me. Alcohol won out. And they left the home and they just left me and Mom and alcohol. I didn't learn about the 4 food groups till I got to Alcoholics Anonymous. I still have food issues. I can go days without eating. It's just recently I learned about hunger pains. I didn't know what that was. I just had them all the time. And I was talking to a sponsee, and I was like, oh, there goes my stomach again. She was like, that's hunger pains. When's the last time you ate? And I was like, I don't know. She was like, you have to eat. I was like, oh, my God, for real? Is that what that is? And then I was talking to her again some time later, and I was like, oh, there goes those pains. I better get something to eat. She was like, no, you're supposed to do that before, so you don't get them. So I'm still learning. Alcoholism is a part of my entire family's breeding. That's the best way I can put it. Everyone's an alcoholic and an addict. It is interwoven into generations and in our culture. It is the norm. I didn't know anything about alcoholism or this is an issue. I find it funny. It's hysterical to see people passing out. We had parties all the time, and at the end of the night, you know, my uncle's choking my mother, and we're like, kill her, kill her. Oh, you know, all this drama, man. We loved all that stuff. It was never like an embarrassment. I don't know anything about, I guess the black sheep of the family is the one that's sober. That's the black sheep of our family. Like, oh, here they come, you know. Mr. Goody Two-Shoes. I grew up half the year in Puerto Rico, half the year in New York, and the same thing I saw in Puerto Rico, I saw in New York. I didn't see anything different. Everyone dies from cirrhosis of the liver, kidney failure, you fall down, crack your skull, OD, get shot. That's the norm. We die young. We put your drink and the drug of choice in the coffin with you, and we take pictures, man. It's a way of life. I saw nothing wrong with them. I have a lot of uncles that are heroin addicts. I was never embarrassed about them. I didn't worry about bringing friends home from school. This is the party house. And when my uncles would nod, I would tell them, don't worry, he'll be back in a minute and he'll finish where he left off. Don't worry about it. I don't know if they do that. They nod out, they never fall. You know what I'm saying? They were like, should we catch him? They ain't gonna fall. He'll be back. He'll be all right. I have a lot of family members doing time in county, state, federal penitentiary. It's not an embarrassment. It's a badge of honor, as a matter of fact. You're not a snitch. Mucho respect. It's good that you know what I mean, who they are, so you don't mess with me. I'd be like attempted murder. You want to look at me different? Amy gets that. Amy's like, And then alcohol did something for me. It allowed me to live flatlined, detached, and disconnected. I had no heartbeat. I wasn't present for any of my experiences growing up, the good things or the bad things. I grew up with a lot of physical abuse, verbal abuse, sexual abuse. That was the norm. It happened on a daily basis. It wasn't an incident. It was happening all the time. Thought my name was stupid and idiot. I didn't learn my name was Theresa until I got to Alcoholics Anonymous. You had to teach me that. It comes up for me. I never questioned all of that abuse. I didn't say I want to run away. This is horrible. You shouldn't talk to me that way. This is the way it is. And Mommy was always in and out of mental institutions. I identify when Peter talked about that. I lived visiting Mommy in the state hospitals. And my brother and I used to have fun, and we would be outside her window, and she'd be looking all crazy, and we used to do things like run in front of cars or do something wild, and she'd be screaming, ah! And as soon as the wardens come, or whatever you call them, the nurses, and then we act all innocent, like, I don't know what's the matter with her, she's losing it. That was how we played. It's funny because I remember it now because my mother's doing that to me now. That's why it's come back to me. She's been doing that now every day at the house. She's talking to herself in the mirror. She even did it to my nephew. She's talking to somebody in the mirror. She met her at the mall, and I keep telling her she's in every store. We'll visit her everywhere we go. And she's talking to herself in the mirror, and then we come in and we're like, who are you talking to? She's like, I ain't talking to anybody. We're like, you're talking to somebody in the mirror. And she's like, no, I'm not. Looking at us like we're crazy. And then we're like, look in the mirror. Who do you see? And she's like, you and me, duh. So anyway. So she's doing it back to me. I'm telling the doctors and the nurses, she's crazy. And she's like, I don't know what she's talking about. That kind of stuff. And with all the sexual abuse and with all the physical abuse, I don't remember feeling any of it. I don't remember the violation. I just knew that that's the way it was. I checked out of my body a long time ago. And I tell people, I don't know if alcohol spoke to you, but it spoke to me. And it told me if nobody loves you, I love you. I'll take care of you. It nurtured me. It soothed me. It healed my wounds. It patched me up. It allowed me to not have a heartbeat. I had no emotional attachment to the experience. It was all good. I always had a smile on my face. I've seen enough doctors and two-way mirrors. And I would sit in these therapists' office, and they knew what was going on. And they would ask me, and I'd be like, I'm fantastic. Everything is great. And I would be bleeding. I remember my arm, I'd be in the hospital, and I have broken bones or burnt cigarettes. And they're looking at me like, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm great. How are you? They're like, your arm is crooked. You going to fix it? Nothing. Ask anyone that I went to grammar school with, high school with, They'll tell you that I was worldly, mature, always smiling. I walked with a sense of confidence. I was kind, considerate, loving, the light of the party. That was alcohol. They never knew that I was hurting. I didn't even know I was hurting. I learned how to dress up my outsides, fix myself up, look pretty. To this day, I'm that way. My sponsor tried this exercise of having me look like I feel. I haven't done well with that one. So we just readjusted. So she told me, why don't you just tell people? I'm like, okay, I'll do that one. And I lived like that for 24 years. Bless you. I lived on the edge. I took chances. I ran off with strangers. Talk about seedy companions. That's my family members. Let me calling them seedy. Gangsters. Peter, every time I see him, I'm like, you remind me of New York. I'm like, don't he look like a teen still? You know what I'm saying? He could be like in the movies. I wasn't planning on changing that life. All my relationships were physically abusive, toxic, unhealthy. I was attracted to those kind of people. I'm not going out with somebody who's healthy. And one time I went out with some guy who was a Mason, and he wanted to open up doors for me and make me breakfast in bed. I was like, you don't want to smoke a joint or something? I'd be like, hit me, do something, you're boring. I couldn't stay in that relationship long. He was toxic, you know what I'm saying? Go do something with yourself. Being all respectful. I went to Catholic school for 11 and a half years. I put a uniform on and a smile on my face, and I said the Our Father and the Hail Mary. I took my communion, I did my confession. This is a way of life for me. I'm emancipated at 14. I'm grown, man. All my friends are 15, 20 years my senior. I don't hang out with friends my age. Talk about what? Do what? My IQ apparently is ridiculous. I'm an honor student. I always got A's. Always, because mommy threatened me. If I didn't, then I wouldn't be able to have my drink when I came home from school. So I got A's. My nephew recently found all my report cards, and they were all A's. It said honorary and all this. I don't remember school. I run into people from grammar school, or they find me on Facebook, and the hardest thing is to tell these people who are excited because they found me that I don't remember them. I always have to say, can you tell me? I always hesitate, you know what I mean? I get emotional because they're so excited. And then to call and say, I don't know who you are. Can you tell me who I am? That's how I talk to them. Can you tell me about me? I always had businesses. I made money. I was into money, property, prestige. I relied on Theresa, and alcohol was my master. It told me when to get up in the morning and when to go to bed at night. Where I was going to live, where I wasn't going to live. If I was going to work, if I wasn't. If I was in a relationship, and who I was in a relationship with. It dictated every single area of my life. I didn't hide that. Everyone knew that this was non-negotiable. Nothing and no one got between me and alcohol. Nobody. I had budget sheets, and it was always alcohol and all my other little strange things, you know. And then rent and all that kind of stuff. That always came first. That was on my spreadsheet. I hung out with mafia, cartel. Those are my family members. And we also had police officers, politicians. They're all the same. They're all the same people. They're the same people. I always say I live more like Michelle Pfeiffer or Scarface. So what happened to me? How did I end up here with you? Because I'm telling you, I wasn't planning on changing that life. I was ready to die like everybody else in my family. Couldn't wait to get up out of this camp. All the stories that I hear in the rooms, alcoholism is an insidious disease. There's no respect of any person, place, or thing, money, no money. For years I blamed my mother and my alcoholism because she gave me alcohol. I never made a conscious choice to drink. And I remember them telling me, you may not be responsible for your disease, but you are responsible for your recovery. So I let that whole thing go. What came first, the chicken or the egg? It doesn't matter. What I do know is that comes a time where we all end up meeting in this place. And that is that for whatever reason, around the age of 24, all of a sudden I became present from my experience. And I think that's when things change. I like the effect produced by alcohol. You know what's interesting in the literature? It says men and women. It doesn't say alcoholics. It says men and women. That means everybody likes the effect. But I'm willing to pursue that into the gates of insanity or death. The party is never over. I will chase that come hell or high water, man, for that effect. But what happens to a drunk like me when I take a drink and I don't get the effect? I'm still restless, irritable, and discontent? I got a problem with that. That's where the problem starts. Where I take a drink and I'm still present. I always use this example because that's where it really hit me. I walked into a bar, I had a drink, I looked at you and you were still ugly. That's a problem. Because you should have changed by now. I know how it works. That's why I don't look at nobody when I walk in. I go straight, you know what I mean? Just tunnel vision, go straight to the bar, then we'll talk. And I took another drink and you were still ugly. Started freaking me out. Another drink, and not only were you still ugly, I still went home with you. That's a problem. That's a problem. I'm sorry. Something's wrong with that. Normal people don't do that. The sun came through the window and it burned my skin. It was as though I had been resuscitated. I had been living in a coma. And now I'm present to this thing called life, and I had never been here. I've been loaded since fetus. I couldn't take a bath because the water hurt my skin. I looked in the mirror and I didn't know who she was. I had never seen me before. Scared the living daylights out of me. Daddy had stopped talking to me. When did Daddy stop talking to me? And why do I care? People talk about burning bridges. I never burned bridges. I didn't establish any. And now I wanted to know where everybody was at. My grandmother had a look of disgust on her face, and I couldn't shake it off. And no matter what combination I did, I was still present for my experience. You see, normally consequences don't get my attention. We talk about incomprehensible demoralization. That was my life. But now I could smell it, and I could see it, and now I'm in it. And can't do nothing to change it. I always say alcohol left me emotionally retarded with no coping skills. It betrayed me, and it abandoned me. When I came to you guys, I mourned for a year. I was grieving. I wore black for my first year of sobriety. I was in mourning. I don't know about you. Some newcomers come in here looking real cute, right? I'd be like, whoa, what's happening? And now when I'm trying every combination, everything possible so I could check out, no matter what I did, I was still present for my experience. My bottom lasted 6 months, folks. People do that for years. I wanted to go back to being flatlined. And because no matter what I did, I was still present, the best thing I can do was to invite death into my life. And I believe it's a cold thing when you invite death in your life and death don't even take you out. What is that about? But that was my only recourse. Like, I really needed death to take me out of my misery, and it wouldn't come and take me. I end up doing the aimless walk. No purpose, no agenda, no destination. It's just a walk. And I ended up in a church. It's on Parsons Boulevard in Queens. Our literature talks about only an act of providence can help a drunk like me. But for the grace of God, I stand before you sober today. I don't know when I stood in that church if I was done or surrendered. I don't know anything about that. All I know is that in that moment, there I stood. And I was able to witness and see the window of the grace of God open up. And perhaps it had been there all along. But I couldn't see it. That's why I wish the newcomer the gift of desperation. Because it takes that level of desperation. I love how Peter explained that last night. To be at that place. That dark, dark place. I'm so glad I was there. I would have missed it. And I said, God, please allow me to feel the peace that I feel in this church. Inside of me. Inside of me. Not outside, inside. I wanted one moment for my head to shut up. My stomach to stop turning. Oh my God, I don't want to do that again. That was horrible. My skin is crawling. You just want to pull your skin off. I had no idea that prayer was going to change my life. I really didn't even know who I was praying to. I leave there, I go to Daddy's house, Daddy opens up the door, and what comes out of my mouth is amazing. I say, Daddy, help me. I had never asked for help before. We've had to do a lot of work on that with me when I got here. There are rules where I come from with this help thing, man. Was God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself? My father said with all the love that a father can have for his daughter, Daddy loved me, man. I've experienced unconditional love in here, but I've experienced that from my dad. Daddy loved me, and he was so powerless over this disease. He said, I wish I could tie you up and put you in a closet, man. But you're standing in the middle of a crossroad, and there's 3 directions you're headed. You're so close to them, and you can taste them, and you can smell them. And that's jails, mental institutions, and death. But there's another road. It's called recovery. He said, you don't know anything about it, and neither do I. It seems dark and mysterious. But if you give it a try, and if it doesn't work out, the other 3 will be waiting for you. I share that because I always want to remember it. Every day I stand in the middle of a crossroad. There are no boulders. Nothing is blocking them. Maybe caution tape, but nothing is blocking them. And I got on a Greyhound bus and I went to California because of a tradition that you have which is called attraction rather than promotion. My mother is sober and my cousin is sober. And my cousin is my mother's Eskimo. My cousin found my mother in Venice Beach eating out of garbage cans and enticed her with some stuff to lure her to AA. Mommy and my cousin had been around for 4 years. And I used to come to these meetings when I would visit California. And I would drink before, during, and after the meeting. I would go to musician picnics they would have and all these little parties and the meeting after the meeting. And at no time did I think a seed was being planted. I don't even remember paying attention to you people. This was Mommy's thing. Mommy was a mess of a drunk. Not me. It was her thing. Y'all needed to help her. When I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, I remembered you people. Maybe you messed up my drinking. Because they say once the seed is planted, you can't drink the same again. So maybe you messed me up. I remember your smiles, the warmth and the camaraderie that you have with one another. I still watch people before the meeting, during, and I still watch, as I know people watching me. I remember nobody shunned me. They didn't roll their eyes at me or suck their teeth at me. And most importantly, nobody ever tried to shove a pamphlet down my throat. And for that, I'm truly grateful. I really believe that if you had done that, I would have been willing to figure out how to die out there before I proved you right. And it's interesting because that has been my experience. That's so important to me in my sobriety, is attraction rather than promotion. Where I don't shove the program down nobody's throat. You know what I mean? I be like, I don't make a big deal, man. I just wear it. I just wear it. I remember I had a sponsee not too long ago. She had her cousin living in her house, and she brought him to this meeting. He looked messed up. He was like stressed. I was like, yo, man, you thirsty? He was like, yeah. I was like, leave him alone. He was losing it. You know what I mean? He was like, I need a beer. I was like, go get a beer. She was killing this kid. She was like, no, he needs to get sober. I was like, give him a beer. I detoxed on a Greyhound bus. I had my last drink in El Paso, Texas. This man got me a drink. More people died from alcohol detox than anything else. I was having DTs and I was sick. I believe he saved my life. I wouldn't have made it the rest of the way. And I arrived in downtown Los Angeles on March 29, 1990, wearing a size 1 pair of pants and 2 pants underneath. I had a huge sweatshirt, 4 months pregnant with a dead baby in my belly, didn't have a heartbeat by the time I got to California. That was my 4th child I had lost. To this day, I'm reminded every time I go to the doctor of all the damage that's happened to me throughout the years before I came to you. I have not had the honor and the privilege of having children ever since. My nephews kind of appreciate it. I know that sounds sick, but they're like, so now you get to be here for us, Titi, which is true. I arrived in Union Station, and my mother picked me up. And she dropped me off in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, and she left me there. She can't help me. Mommy did what she needed to do. She literally left me in the rooms. We came in, and we just walked halfway in the room, and she turned around. She didn't say bye or nothing, and she went to leave. And I'm like, where are you going? She said, this is as far as I can go with you. She turned me over to the people that saved her life. I share with folks. To this day, I don't go to meetings with Mom. I know I see people go to meetings with each other, and families heal together, and and they hang out, but I haven't done that with Mommy. I don't do well when I go to meetings with Mom. When she shares, I'll be like, I cannot listen for me when I go to the meeting with Mom. And then when I share, as sad as this story is, this is how sick our relationship is. As sad as this story is, you would think my mother would be embarrassed. She takes great pride in that story. So here I'm pouring my heart out. She's like, yep, that's right. I did that. So I don't go to meetings with Mommy. The only time I go to my mother's home group is her anniversary when she's celebrating. And if they see me at that meeting any other time other than that, they get nervous. They be like, what'd you do, Sonia? The Al-Anon showing up, the untreated Al-Anon. I'd be like, this is her home group? Where's her sponsor? They be like, oh my God, Sonia, what'd you do now? The 12 steps ain't helping her today. My sponsee, Kashina's laughing, right? People think I'm exaggerating. Mommy's a trip. I got sober at 9604, Crenshaw, Alano. I always say I'm so proud of the breed that I come from. I hope you're proud of your home group the way I am of mine. Feel like a baby in a baby basket left at the doorsteps of Alcoholics Anonymous. This was the last house on the block for me. I came in talking about if you can't help me, somebody need to blow my brains out. I can't do another 24 like this. I'm not doing it. I was scared. I was lost. I was confused. I didn't know my name. I didn't know how to walk, how to talk. I knew nothing. Nothing. And perhaps that was the best thing that you had to work with. I knew nothing. I love the old timers that were there. I'll always refer to them. They were special, man. They loved a broken toy like me. I always mention Marcy, little Puerto Rican just like myself, just as feisty and petite. And she walked strong. You know, people, you could hear them walking. Her feet were like, you know, when she hit the ground. And she walked right up to me, and her chest, she's a little bitty thing. And her chest was out like this, and she walked up to me and she said, "Hey, baby, we've been praying for you." I thought it was because you knew my mom, but I realized you pray for everybody. She said, "God don't make no junk, baby girl. You deserve to be here, you see, because you a child of God." Oh, my goodness. She said, "You got a beautiful light inside of you, baby. And we just got a clean house, so that light can shine." I just remember, I still hear it. I still hear it. Got a beautiful light inside of you, baby girl. We got a clean house. And that light's going to shine. She didn't lie. I see it when I look in the mirror. I see it when I look at you. Marcy didn't lie to me. But it was a foreign language. What are you saying to me right now? I've heard my whole life that I am garbage. That I am junk. I am disgusting. I am a rag. I am crap. And you're telling me that I got a beautiful light inside of me? What are you saying to me? Sobriety has been a lot more for me than just don't drink. I get it. But it has meant more to me than from the moment I walked in here. You introduced me to a new idea, completely different. Alcohol had betrayed me. It abandoned me. I had nothing. I couldn't breathe without it. And you gave me a new oxygen mask. And you told me I deserved it. That I deserved to be here. That I wasn't junk. And that I wasn't garbage. I'm so grateful nobody ever apologized for their relationship with God when I came here. They told me I had to find another one. They gave me a big book. They told me it was a textbook. It was meant to be studied. It's not a novel. I put down the drink and I picked up the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I love the simplicity of this program. English is my second language. People are amazed. They say, "Oh, you speak well and you articulate." For the first 6 months of my sobriety, my sponsor had me speak to you with index cards. I didn't know how to talk to people. So it trips me out today, that I share. I don't know if most of you know Ralph, but, I got sober with Ralph and Ronnie and them, and I didn't talk for a year. The first time Ralphie was speaking in Connecticut, and they said, "Oh, we know somebody here from your home group." And I went up to him, and he was like, "Tea?" I don't talk. They sat me in the front, and I had to listen like the dying only could. And they told me to examine my relationship with alcohol, mine. And I had to listen to you. So I had to shut up for a minute. They didn't let me share for a year. People get sensitive, call it Nazi AA. I don't know what you call it. This is my experience. They didn't let me share for a year, not from a podium. Whenever I say I want to share, they be like, "What you want to talk about?" All you know is what it was like, what it was like, what it was like, what it was like. Sit down somewhere. That's what they used to say. That's all you know is what it was like. Shut up. I could share like, discussion group, but not like at the podium. All you sharing is disease. That's what they used to talk about. I learned the traditions long before the steps. I love the traditions. I just do. They allowed me to be possible. They're not laws. They're not rules. I love when people say, oh, you broke a tradition. That's not even possible. That's not a law. You can't break something that's not a law. Well, we're an upside-down triangle. Who are you calling? You know what I'm saying? Who are you calling? You're calling the AA police. But what's beautiful about the traditions is that even those people who think they're the AA police, they get to do that. That's what I love about the traditions. They used to say opinions, excuse the expression, opinions are like assholes, everybody got one. I love that kind of stuff. Whenever somebody's like running things or like really mean, you just go, keep coming back, you know? Keep coming back. I know you think you're in charge. It's all good. That nobody governs. Nobody's running anything, even though some people think so. It don't matter. I'm a member because I say I am. That's a big one for me. All my life I've been thrown away. I've been shifted around. I've been told where I'll be accepted and where I won't, and for how long I'll be accepted. Alcohol dictated my life and other people dictated my life. And I come into Alcoholics Anonymous and you tell me I'm a member because I say I am. I have a desire and I'm a member. They still make fun of me in my home group about that. So I walk around, they be like, hey Theresa, I'm a member. Because I used to go around announcing it. I used to be like, I'm a member. I don't like you either. But I have a desire. You have to help me. I do. I love that tradition. It's funny. I have a sponsee. I mean, he's a trip. Nobody likes him. Most of my sponsees think it's because he's a guy and it's a Latino thing. You know what I mean? Latinos are always nice to the guy, and that I'm nice to him. I'm like, no, it's because he's in unity, recovery, and service. He's a member. It doesn't matter. One day God will work that out, and he may transform. I don't know. I just have him keep coming back. I love the God consciousness in the room. There's something about the presence. When I walk into the rooms, it's like, this is the one place I could just be. I could just be. Broken, you know, put together. I could be anything when I come in here. This is the safest place on earth for me. It doesn't matter if you're rich, if you're poor, you're tall, you're short, what nationality you are, what political views you have. It doesn't matter. Are you a drunk? I'm a drunk. That's all that matters. The even playing field, man. I look forward to Larry. I love Larry. Love you. I look forward to him tonight. I love how he shares about these traditions and what happens with these drunks, you know? G-O-D, group of drunks. There's something about that, the unity in numbers and the fellowship of the Spirit that just lightens me up. I'm safe here with you. Through my alcoholism, you identify and you understand. I like the nod, man. I like the people we shake. You know what I mean? Everybody like, yup, I get it, yup. You call me on my stuff. They gave me a sponsor. I didn't pick her, interview her, fire her, hire. I don't know nothing about that. I don't. It's cool. I don't get it because that's not my experience. That's all. I know they say find somebody you identify or you like or something. I don't know. I didn't have that luxury because I didn't know nothing. How am I going to pick somebody? I don't even know who I am. So they told me this woman is your sponsor. And that's it. I got a little sassy just because, I don't know, I had to be sassy. And I was like, I thought you were supposed to find somebody you identify with. They were like, you now identify with her. I think that was the first and last time I was sassy. I was like, whatever. All I needed to know was that she had a working knowledge of the steps in the book. That's all I needed to know. She was sober, and I wasn't. Her personality was none of my business. Let me tell you, my sponsor used to dress up like Janet Jackson and Michael Jackson and wear a glove. She was very strange. She used to change her name every week. She still does. She was like a radical, you know what I mean? African power. I don't know what was going on with her. But she was sober. I remember I went to her house and she lived like in an abandoned building. And she had a daughter. Now, anybody else would have went, what could this woman possibly have to offer me if she's in an abandoned building? I don't know about you, but that impressed me. I still get emotional when I think about it. She was so happy to be of service to me in that abandoned, you know what I mean? She could have easily said no, you know what I'm saying? Till I get my stuff together. She was like, I'm going to let God work all that out. You and me are going to go through this book. And that's been that's what I do today. They taught me how to apply the steps to my life. It wasn't homework. It wasn't an assignment to give my sponsor. That the very first step was that I had to concede to my innermost self that I am truly alcoholic. The only step I needed to do perfectly was step one. If I don't do that one and I have a reservation, I don't care about the other ones. I'll act like I'm doing them, but I ain't doing them. I didn't go around calling myself an alcoholic because it sounds cute. I tell people, maybe it's because I'm a Latina. If you watch Telemundo channel, we're very dramatic. We are all or nothing kind of people. You know what I'm saying? Either I'm in or I'm out. I don't do that in between. Either I like you or I don't. I don't pretend. I don't even know how to do that. And so when I examined my relationship with alcohol, I had to see, am I an alcoholic? You know there's some people who are not. Just because you have problems with alcohol, that don't make you an alcoholic. Let me see. I've taught DUI classes. I have fun with those. Because nobody's an alcoholic. I love it. That's in the English class, but in the Spanish class it's different. As Latinos, we don't have a problem with that. So in the Spanish class, everybody's like, I'm an alcoholic, what about it? You know what I mean? What's your point? What you trying to say? Anyway. And I needed to see if I could tick off the boxes. Just like I used to share in the classes. I'm like, stop trying to prove that you're not and find out if you are. Because if you are, you're in trouble. And if you're not, you cool. You learn your lesson. Vaya con Dios. But if you be alcoholic like me, ain't nothing else I could do but to find another power. For you see, lack of power is my dilemma. I can't figure this out no more. I can't work this out no matter what I do. I'm going to drink. I need help. My body does what it does. I put it in there and it does what it does, regardless whether I wanted to do something different. I need evidence to support that. Let me tell you, I went around like a private investigator. I like those shows, CSI, maybe it's sick, I don't know, I like all that kind of stuff. And I walked around and looked at the big book to find out if I was. And as I'm like, oh my God, I did that. Oh, is that what that's called? Is that what that's, oh, what? Are you serious right now? And my thinking, I think like an alcoholic. I always say alcoholic got two thoughts. How to or how not to. That's not normal. That's not normal. I tell people, if you're always trying to figure out how not to drink, do you know that that's not normal? Normal drinkers don't figure out how not to drink. They don't spend their day plotting on how to prove that they're not an alcoholic. Something's wrong with that. Check the box. And then you talk about this thing called the soul sickness. That's been the journey. The root of all my troubles. A spiritual malady that only a power greater than myself can cure, take care of. You told me I have to straighten out spiritually first, and then I'll straighten out mentally and physically. It's not the other way around. In the 12 and 12 on step 3, I don't know about you. Again, I'm a little overly dramatic. But I really swore that it yelled at me. And it said, now that the drinking problem's been solved, you in trouble! I swear, I felt like the 12 and 12 yelled at me. You in so much trouble, Theresa. Oh my God. You're going to need help more than ever. It didn't lie. I was like, I was in trouble. I didn't have to take all this stuff all at once, but when I admitted to my innermost self and I did step 1, I run to the remaining steps. I run. It's non-negotiable, folks. I do not have the luxury to ponder upon whether I should. No luxury whatsoever. I love it. Only alcoholics do that. Let me think about that for a minute. I'm like, must be nice. I don't have that kind of time. I'm in trouble. I need to go and seek out this power. I always hear Ralph. They brainwash me. I remember he used to say, you guys are brainwashing me. They used to say, your brain needs washing. This is about obtaining and maintaining a relationship with this power. Where do I find it? You give me a hint. You say deep down inside in every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. It lives inside of me. That may not be a big deal to you, but it's a big deal to me. It's inside of me. All my life, I've reached outside of myself. All my life. I thought it was out there. Money, property, prestige, job, title, relationships, alcohol, drugs, shopping, gambling. All my life, reaching out, reaching out, reaching out. Didn't know. No wonder I always came up short. No wonder I was never filled completely. It's in me. How do I get there? Do the steps. I tell people it's not that deep. Stop making it complicated. Do the steps. That's the treasure map. Just follow the black on the white. They used to say, keep it simple, stupid. I know we're sensitive. We can't call people stupid. It worked for me. Keep it simple. I didn't have the luxury of talking to old-timers as I see some people. Anyway, newcomers can't talk to me like that. But I see them talk to other people. I didn't have the luxury of dialoguing. The time going, I don't know, you don't understand. My emotional condition of my self-esteem has been affected. And my neurons are wacky. And they didn't let me get away with that. They'd be like, shut up. Just shut up. I do that today. When people talk to me like that, newcomers, I'm like, you scaring me. Stop it. You scaring me. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just follow the black and the white. Just follow the black and the white. And so I picked up these tools that have been laid at my feet. And you told me if I want what you have, that I need to do what you do. And what was it that you had that I wanted? Was it your jobs? Was it your political views? I don't know, the car you were driving? The house you lived in? I saw in you what Bill saw in Ebby when he opened up the door. I saw something in you that I couldn't quite put my finger on. And I wanted that. I didn't even know what it was, but I wanted it. And I was willing to go to any lengths to get it. And I began uncovering, discovering, and discarding. Getting rid of all the things that blocked me from that power. Resentments and fears. I've done the uncomfortable until it became comfortable. I've been in the fetal position around this camp. All the stuff I didn't remember in the first 24 years, I remembered them here. And I learned to put one hand in God and one hand in this program, and I don't have to do it alone. And know that God is. I tell people I don't look for the light at the end of the tunnel. I look for a flashlight with somebody with a flashlight. Or I follow the voice. I was telling that to someone. They called me about 2, 3 in the morning. We were talking. And I say, I look for the voice. You know, because sometimes if you're in a tunnel, it's too dark. There's no light at the end. Some tunnels go around. And I listened to a voice. I was in Hawaii and that happened. We were in a cave and I'm claustrophobic and I was scared. And he said, just listen to my voice. Just listen to my voice. And I just kept listening to his voice. I kept following, just following it. And then he goes, look up. And then I saw the light. And that's what I identify with in here. I just listen to my sponsor. The more my sponsor didn't make sense, the better off I was. I remember I was really upset and I was like, this is happening, that's happening, da-da-da. She said, bake a cake. And I was like, she's not listening to me. But I was like, but you know what? I never tried that before. Let's see what happens. And I baked the cake. And in hindsight, she was teaching me to live in the moment. Because you tell me where to find God and where I can become present with inside of me, the Spirit in me. Where do I find that connection in me? In the now. The one place I've never really been. And so I clean house to become in the present moment. And then I say to this power, what will you have me be? What will you have me do? And I need to be able to have a clean house so I can hear it. And then I just follow the breadcrumbs. And I've learned to be a daughter to my father, to my mother, an aunt to my nephews, a sister to my brother, a neighbor to my neighbors, a worker amongst workers. I become other-centered. I've always said I've watched something happen to Theresa. I don't know about setting boundaries and all this kind of stuff. I don't know nothing about that. All I do is I clean house and I trust in this power. And then I watch something happen to Theresa. The only thing I got to bring to the table is willingness. That's bro. He's always saying that's the only thing I bring to the table. Nobody can give me that. Just a mustard seed of willingness. That's what I bring to the table. And I watch something happen. And I watch things come out of my mouth. You know that 90% of my inventory was to most of my perpetrators and my abusers? 90%. It says fancy or real. 90% of my amends was to my perpetrators and my abusers. And I did it because you told me I was in bondage of self. And I wanted freedom. And I knocked on doors. And I went all the way back to New York and I knocked on doors. And said, I don't have a right to hate you and character assassinate you. You are exactly who I needed you to be because I knew no different. I love living in a state of victim consciousness. A lot of people say, Theresa, I want what you have. Are you willing to do what I've done? Yeah. Are you kidding me? I hated women when I got here. I hated my mother. I used to have to go to women in the rooms and say, excuse me, you know why I don't like you? It's because I see a beauty in you that I don't see in me, and it makes me uncomfortable. Can you teach me? I see a strength in you that I don't see in me. Can you show me? I've been on a ride for 29 years. Are you kidding me? What is the driving force? My desire to stay sober. To have a relationship with this power. Anything and anyone who stands in the way of my relationship with this power, I am willing to do what's necessary, just like the drink. I want to have this thing called spiritual awakening, to be awakened. The gift of awareness. I want to experience that. What is that? I want to experience peace, serenity, compassion, love. What is it? I don't even know what it is. I hear people around here say, the program will give you things beyond your wildest dreams. I've never dreamed. What's a dream? That's what sobriety is. What is that? I didn't know what any of that was you guys were talking about. What is that? What is love? I've been very childlike here. What is love? What is that? I've only experienced hatred. I can't just go, it's the opposite. What is it? I see it in you. I've learned about unconditional love and compassion through you. And then I do the work so I can witness it in me. I don't know how not to give this program away. I just don't. We were talking about that outside last night. Every time someone comes to me and says, oh my goodness, Theresa, I've heard you speaking, or I listened to your CD, or you helped me stay sober. You know the faces that I see when they tell me that? I see the faces of June G., Ralph White, you know what I mean? JoJo, Patty O, Sam, you know what I mean? I see their faces because they did that for me. And it is my responsibility to do it for others. It's non-negotiable. I see Bill and Dr. Bob. Let me tell you, I got pictures of Bill, Ann, and Lois in my house. And people come to my house and I'm like, that's Uncle Bill and that's Uncle Bob, Auntie Lois. And they be looking at me like, yes, that's right, and I've been to their house. That's my family. Where most people look to get their family back around here, I've had to stay away from the majority of mine. Life has been in session, and I always like ending, where I'm at today, I don't know. So many people have seen me grow up around here. I have some people show up to hear me speak just to see what chapter I'm at now. I do. I run into people, they're like, okay, what happened? Did you get a house? Did you move? Where are you now? My life is transparent, man. I live in a glass house. This power has been doing some stuff with me. Some people ask, I always ask, how did I even survive? God had plans long time ago. I call God a show off. I'm so glad I answered the call, that I was desperate enough to answer the call that was already planned. So yeah, I've taken care of most of my perpetrators and my abusers. I've buried a lot of people. I've been living in ICUs and hospitals, and I know this no matter what thing. I'm of service no matter what. I've been living in hospitals, people dying, and I still answer the call. My phone rings like central office. And I don't only get calls from people I sponsor, I get calls from people all over the place. And I have folks going, what you doing right now? Oh, my father's dying. I'm sitting here waiting for him to take his last breath. Are you serious? I was doing nothing but staring at him. Why would I not take the call? I'm just looking at him like this, waiting for him to stop breathing. And my heart is broken. You know what I'm saying? I might as well talk to you. Just recently, I was sharing with Scott, we haven't had a chance to talk about it, but I started school. That's been really special for me. I've been taking care of a lot of people. I've had a lot of hardship for a long time. And I got tired of talking about that, honestly. I really did. I so got tired. Whenever we would get to what it was like today, I swear it would give people hope, because they'd be like, I thought my life was bad. I feel better now. I got people staying sober just to watch me stay sober. I'm dead serious. Ask any of my sponsees. They come to my house with a sandwich and an apple. Let me see how she gets through the day. It seems to be quieting down a little bit. A lot of people have died, and I've buried a lot of folks, and life's still in session. But for the most part, my days sometimes are really crazy. Like in one day, right, my partner loses her job, the car gets repoed, everything's going to get cut off. That's like the norm. There's so much things that happen in my life that leaves me with no confusion and no illusion whatsoever that God's in charge. I don't have no indication in my life that I can run the show. None. I love how Sandy says either I'm living in my character defects or in God's will. Everything else is an illusion. And recently, it just happened. I wasn't looking for it. I went to school. God knows this baby girl. And I did it, believe it or not, because they say you could get $1,500. And I needed to pay the rent. And my nephew wanted to know how to get benefits. And next thing you know, I'm like, I'm in school? What happened? What's going on? And it was the best thing that could have happened to me. I watch my disease of alcoholism do what it does. Every day I watch the disease do what it does, and I watch the grace of God knock it out of the box. As long as I'm in fit spiritual condition. And every paper that I handed in, I swore they were going to tell me I needed to go back to kindergarten. Because I don't remember school. I'm scared, you know what I mean? I was in prison for school. And so I was like, for sure I'm stupid. All that stuff came back again. You're stupid. What are you doing? And they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you that you have no business trying to be an adult. You have no business doing this. And every paper that I handed in, I just waited for that. And I would pass. And English is my second language, and so I struggled with, you know what I mean? I would do everything in Spanish first, and then I would translate it into English. And I would stay up night after night, and I would go to conferences, and I would be in my room, and everybody's sleeping, and I'm doing homework, and I'm so grateful to all the hotel people who work here, because for the last those months in school, I drove them crazy, the people who worked in the hotel, because they're the only ones up late at night. The folks at the front desk, and I'd be like, I can't do it, and no, you should see them in the front. They'd be like, you can do it, it's okay, you know. I had one guy, he was so cute, it was like now 6 in the morning, and I kept going back and forth, and I was like, I don't understand, and all this stuff. And then finally, like 6:30, he was like, okay, listen, I gave you a late checkout, okay? And I really think you need to go to bed. I was like, okay, you know. I've had folks where she's at who's helped me out and talk about how do I get funding and benefits and trial and error. I didn't know what I'm doing. And Alcoholics Anonymous, you told me to ask questions and to go around and ask. And that's what I've been doing. And it just gave me something for me, is what I experienced. I do a lot for a lot of people. And this was the one thing that I was doing that mattered to me. It didn't matter to anybody else but to me. And I passed and I finished and I got A's. And that was pretty special. It feels good. On July 1st, I got a letter, you know. And they were like, congratulations, you're on the dean's, honor list or something like that, no? And I was like, what? You know? Are you serious right now? I couldn't have done it without Alcoholics Anonymous and the grace of a loving God. I have a life because of this program. I hear people say, I need to get a life. Everything I have is because of you. Everything I am is because of you. I have nothing without you. Nothing. I am nothing. I within myself am nothing without this power. What is this spiritual awakening? I'm awakened to the fact that I within myself am nothing. That the more I think I know, the less I know. That I'll do everything necessary to get rid of anything that stands in the way of my usefulness to this power. And I get to have an attitude of gratitude. I get to live this thing called life. And I get to give it away. When all else fails, you work with another alcoholic. If sex is troublesome, you work with another alcoholic. The only thing that ensures permanent sobriety is working with another alcoholic. I do a lot of work with alcoholics. People are impressed. I'm like, don't be impressed. I'm just sicker than most. I used to kidnap them. I'm getting better. I would keep them in my house for 3 or 4 days. They'd be like, really, Theresa? They'd be like, I swear, Theresa, I'm not going to take a drink. Just let me go home. I'm like, no, wait a minute. I have financial issues. Sit down. We have to go through the book one more time. Until I have an intuitive thought. My spirit is at peace. My spirit is at peace, and it feels really, really good. I just want to acknowledge that. My spirit is at peace. You know, in the last couple of years, it wasn't. I've been going through a lot. And I just wanted that peace, you know, that inner peace. But despite not completely feeling it, I just kept cleaning house, trusting in God, being assertive. You know what I'm saying? Just showing up, just showing up, just showing up, just showing up, and telling on myself, telling on myself, telling on myself, telling on myself. And today, I'm like, whoo, okay, whoo. That's why I'm so grateful the old timers haven't killed themselves or somebody else, because life be happening, man. Life be happening. And I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But today, right now, this moment, it's all good. This power around here takes a girl like me, unloved, unwanted, unnecessary, and insignificant, dusts me off, builds me up, so you could see what he could do. I tell people, look at me. I am so beautiful. And it's because of the sunlight of the Spirit. I work hard for that so you can see it, so you can see him, so you can see them. If nobody told you they love you today, I truly, truly do. Again, I want to thank the God in you for helping to discover the God in me so that I, in return, can do the same for others. I look so forward to the rest of the weekend. Thank you so much.